and Matt is going to introduce you to Riley.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I heard not even that. I heard a little bit less than half of what Bob said, so hopefully it's true and positive, and I'm sure it was. But I might repeat a little bit. This hour was not a comedy seminar, but it's quickly turning into that. But back on track. But thank you for coming out to this 2 o'clock panel discussion. Just real briefly, I'm Matt Avery. I'm with MCACN Auctions, excited to do a lot of our on-camera talent, and I host a morning show. I've been privileged to be part of MCACN for many years, but again, the spotlight for this hour is certainly not on me. It's on the group of individuals here on the stage. It was very exciting about how the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals team continues to want to spotlight the next generation of enthusiasts that are going to be keeping this hobby going for decades to come. And I know that this has evolved over the last couple of years, and I'm excited for this year. I believe it marks the first time, Bob disappeared, but I think it's the first time that the Next Generation Invitationals actually has their own display. So a lot of these young folks that we're going to be talking with have vehicles here on display or at home in some cases, as you'll find out, but certainly a lot of them have cars here up in the other hall and are working on them. I caught some of their stories. I'm excited for them to share a little bit more, and it's just so exciting to see this group get larger and larger every year with, again, the next generation of classic and performance car enthusiasts joining us here at MCACN. So what I'd like to do, now, can I get a second mic? Or testing 1, 2. What I'd like to do, guess, is I'm going to hand the mic, and if you could go down, state your name, maybe where you're from, and what vehicle or vehicles you have either here at the show or at home, and then we'll kind of start the conversation there.
Hi, my name's Jack, and I'm from Kansas City, and I have a mini go-kart Corvette, and we have a 69 Mustang at home, and I'm building an 89 Chevy truck at home, and also
so you got a couple projects, not too many, but
I got a couple cars, and then my brother has also a mini Corvette, which is pretty cool to have. So basically what got me into all of this was my dad. He basically built since he was 4, and then he held it on and then just started building it once I was born.
Excellent. All right.
My name's Christoph. I'm from Mount Clemens, Michigan. I have a 1965 Plymouth Barracuda on display here, and at home my dad has a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Druzayich. I'm from Chicago, from Hickory Hills, Illinois. I have a 2001 Haskell, and it's on display here. And my grandpa drives a 1980-something Oldsmobile, and it's on display here as well.
My name is Sydney Matowitz, and I'm from Crystal Lake, Illinois, and I have a 2001 Haskell, and it's on display here.
I'm Jonathan Druzayich, and I have a 2008 half-scale. It's on display here, and my grandpa drives a 1990 Oldsmobile.
I'm Dennis. I'm from Deerfield, Illinois. I have a 2018 Haskell, and my dad drives a 1955 Chevy.
My name is Anthony Stoll. I own a 1978 Chevrolet Malibu. It's on display here, and at home I have a 70 Impala 4-door, an 85 Chrysler 5th Avenue, and an 81 Oldsmobile Cutlass Cruiser.
Hello, my name's Carly Kapler. I have a 1970 AMC Hornet on display here. And my whole family is really into cars, so I grew up in like a Ford family, and I'm the oddball that wanted to choose an AMC. Do you want to tell me and I can say it for you? What's your name? This is Shawnee, everybody.
2016 Pontiac.
A Pontiac. Okay. All right. Good job, Shawnee. I'm Ophelia, and this is my sister. I know. And we have a 68 Dodge Charger here on display, just up there. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, we're from Wheaton, Illinois, just like really close to here.
I'm Hope Sellers. I have a 1960 VW Beetle here on display, and I'm from Bethlehem, Ohio.
I'm Owen Sellers. I'm from Mill Fountain, Ohio as well. We're cousins. I've got a 48 Ford F1 on display here.
Hello everyone. I am from Oak Ridge, New Jersey, and my name is Alex Foth, and I brought the Aqua Metallic 1940 Chevy Street Rod.
My name's Colton Sylvie, and I brought the 1988 Corvette 35th Anniversary Edition. I'm from Arkansas, and I have a 76 Corvette at home.
My name is Jackson Barrett. I'm also known as Lucky Jack. Drive a 64 C10, 66 Chevrolet Biscayne, 4-door converted into a 2-door, and a 91 Camaro Z28.
Did anyone see the amount of diversity? Did anyone see that comment about how wide and diverse this range of interest is? I think it's awesome. Switch out mics. That we have everything from go-karts to Corvettes to trucks. I think it's safe to say the future is bright with this group. Now I want to I want to chat a little bit more. I want to chat with Hope a little bit. I know I'm gonna put you on the spot. I did have a chance to connect with some of our guests yesterday, and Hope was one of them, and her cousin Owen. And Mom and Dad helped fill in some holes that Hope has a Beetle, as she shared. But could you tell us a little bit more, tell the crowd about where your passion came from, the age that it started, and then the steps you took in the years since to acquire this car?
So I have grown up going to car shows like my entire life. And when I was 4, I saw a Beetle at a car show, and I told my parents, hey, I really want this. I called it a slug bug, and that's always what it's been called in my family. And they told me, okay, start saving your money. And they weren't sure if I was going to do it, and I did. And so I started saving money from everything, and just like doing odd jobs. And so when I was about 12, I had almost $1,000 saved. And I was looking around at like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and I saw a Beetle, and it was in a barn. And so we went and drove to it, and it was torn apart, 1,000 pieces. It was like just a rusty old shell, like nothing like cool to look at. Like you wouldn't think it was worth hardly anything, but I mean I thought it was like the most amazing thing ever. And so I bought it, and since then. My dad and I have been restoring it together. My whole family has just pitched in on helping on it, and I've done tons of rust repair and welding and just all that, and I painted it myself, and my dad and I are building another motor for it, and so it's just been an entire restoration, and my whole family has just really pitched in on it and been such a big support to me, and so it's been a huge family thing, and it's been a huge blessing in my life just to be able to experience everything that I've done on it and everything that I've learned about it. So.
I found that incredible that her passion started so young and then she started saving. I love that. Owen, I'm going to talk with you next. So who here in the room has heard of the Hot Rod Power Tour? How many people have been on the Hot Rod Power Tour? Anybody? Okay. So I will say I was able to go this year, and I have a confession. I took a brand new Dodge Durango Hellcat. So I will say I took the easy route, because if you know anything about Power Tour, you know that's kind of cheating, because the whole spirit is to really take something classic and to put your heart and soul into completing that journey. I gotta say, Owen told me his Power Tour experience, and it was very different. But he was just as excited, and that's the thing that I love. Owen, can you share a little bit about your truck, and then kind of some of the trials and difficulties you had on this year's Power Tour, and how you enjoyed the week?
So I have the 48 F1, and I got it going with the original flathead V8 in it, and was driving it around about 2 weeks before the Power Tour. I think it stuck a valve or something, and so I didn't have enough time to like rebuild it or anything. So we sourced the 302 small block and retrofitted it in about 2 weeks before. And I think I put maybe 50 miles on the motor before we took off on the Power Tour, so like we didn't know what was going to happen. About 10 miles from home, dropped a drive shaft out the bottom. Got flat towed to O'Reilly's, and we were able to put it back together. I broke down, I think we broke down 17 times. Throughout the whole week, probably the best one, the throw-up bearing basically shattered. So my cousin, my brother, and I dropped the transmission out of this thing in a hotel parking lot in the evening, and we were able to get a throw-up bearing put back into it and get it back on the road to finish the Power Tour. So yeah, it was kind of it was a good experience.
Are you doing Power Tour again next year? That's what I want to know.
Most definitely, yeah. It was a really good experience to just be able to, learn more about it and just have to think critically and figure out problems. And a great time to bond with my family over it and, solve problems.
Awesome. I'm going to talk with Carly next, if you can hand the mic to her. So for those who don't know, and just in case you're unaware, the Hot Rod Power Tour is a phenomenal event. It really kind of carries on the spirit about not just having a passion, but actually getting out with thousands of other participants and enjoying driving, seeing this country that we're so privileged to live in. So I encourage you, if you haven't been on it, come out. And I think Owen's experience is typical, but I'm saying only because, sometimes you got that crunch, you're trying to get the vehicle done. It's thousands of miles, multiple states. It's worth attending, and I'm sure we're going to see Owen and probably several others on next year's Power Tour. Carly and I chatted also yesterday, and I thought what's interesting about her story is she shared how her love of classic cars is leading into your vocation. Carly, can you tell the crowd a little bit about how that's playing out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I bought my car, I was 16, and though the body work on it was really solid, the paint is really cool, the engine, not so much. It was really rusty and dirty, gross. So me and my dad, we worked in the garage, and we kind of just replaced a bunch of stuff, but it really taught me to work with my hands. Not that I haven't before him, because my dad's also a contractor, so I'd always help him with little projects here and there. But that was like a really big turning point for me, because I knew that working with everything in the car really inspired me to start working with my hands a lot more. So it inspired me to start taking all of the tech classes my high school had to offer. I took a variety of wood classes, a welding class, and an electronics class, and those things, along with my actual shop teacher, has inspired me to go to school to become a shop teacher. So I'm actually doing my student teaching right now. I'm in a high school. We do graphic design, and we're also doing a woods and metals class. So it's just been a really cool experience with me, and it's been quite an honor to be able to learn and inspire the next generations as my career expands into getting them more excited about the trades, since there's such a lack of high schoolers going into the trades. They try to push college as much as they can, and now they're realizing that they've pushed it a little too hard and no one wants to go into the trades. So it's just been a really wild story of how that has come to what I want to teach someday, and try to get others inspired, not only with cars, but just more with just working with their hands and problem solving.
Awesome. We're going to have Professor Carly's shop. I can see it now in a couple of years. She's going to be turning out all kinds of high performance stuff.
Good.
Anyone else on the stage? I know a lot of you share about how your love came from family members, time at events like this. has anyone else taken steps to also pursue a full-time career in automotive repair or the hobby or trades? Anyone else want to share?
So I started working at a classic car dealership recently. A friend of mine named Earl hired me. He was actually a salesman at the Grossinger, and pretty much he just liked me when I was like 9 years old or something. And he's like, "You're pretty cool, kid. When you're 16, I want you to work for me." So I was like, "All right." And he contacted me like right before I turned 16. He's like, "I want you to work for me, kid." And ever since then, ever since January, I've been working at a classic car dealership in the summer full-time and during the school year like part-time, a little, less. And it's a pretty cool experience, and I can say I've driven most classic cars. I've driven all the cars everybody dreams of driving, and it's one of the coolest experiences. And it's cool to work around stuff and especially selling them, and you just get to play with them, and it's a very cool experience.
Awesome. We're going to hear from Christoph next. Christoph and I were chatting, and I will say, I'm a journalist. I've got an eye for research, and I'm kind of a Camaro guy. And I was talking with Christoph. He's a Mopar guy. Is that right, Christoph? Yeah. Now, you're building something, but you've got a specific vision for it that kind of plays off of Mopar history from the 1960s, and I was impressed. I learned a couple of things from talking with you. Can you share about what you're doing with your vehicle and kind of the research you've done to make sure it's accurate?
So I fell in love with the first-gen Barracudas when I was about 7 or 8, and I just loved the giant rear window. I thought it was super unique and really cool. And I did more research about Barracudas and different performance models they had. And I discovered in 1968, Chrysler created a package superstock car where they put a 426 Hemi in a 1968 Plymouth Barracuda. And I thought it was a super cool idea, and I wanted to do that with my car. But I realized that a Hemi wouldn't really fit and look stock in my car, and I'm going for a factory look. So I'm creating a phantom car that never existed if Chrysler built a superstock Barracuda in 1965. I'm using a 383 block board and stroke to a 432 cubic inch motor with a possible 4-speed transmission, maybe a 727 automatic. I haven't decided yet. I have an original 1963 cross ram intake. I have 1990s Mopar Stage 6 heads. The ports are raised on the head, so it works on a 383 block, and I can use a raised block intake. And I'm using I have a narrow 8 3/4 rear axle. I'm basically rebuilding the whole car from the ground up to fit that build.
He knows just a couple things about Mopars, right? But I'm excited to hear that because, yeah. Oh, no wireless.
So if you saw, we had a late addition to the mix, this gentleman right here. And not to make things longer, but just real quick, tell him a little bit about the fact that you were last year's recipient of something pretty cool.
So last year I brought my car out, a 1970 Dodge Super Bee, and I won the Feature Fabricator Award. Over the summer I worked at a fab shop and learned a lot, and my school offered a welding class for this year, so I'm taking that too. Sadly, about a month ago, I got hit head-on by a motorcycle, so the car is not here this year, but hopefully it'll be back for next year, faster and nicer than it was before.
So when he said Future Fabricator Award, since some of you guys don't know this, but my very good friends Dave and Kelly Molnar out of Texas know how passionate I am about trying to keep young people involved in the hobby. They came to me and said they wanted to do something. Make a long story short, they decided to purchase an entire Miller welding set. And it's not just the welder, but it's the helmet, the gloves, the whole deal. It's probably a $1,200 or $1,300 set. And Dave is a pilot. He's American. I'm not sure what airline, but and last minute they called him out, so he could not be here. So for all the rest of you, Kayla won't be you this year, but one of you is going to take home a complete Miller welding set as our Future Fabricator Award, and something else that you can say.
I made a trophy for this year's Future Fabricator. Welded it up. I thought of some designs over the summer, and I think it incorporates the whole idea of the trophy, the class, award, whatever, very well.
One of you will be going home with the complete Miller welding set and the Future Fabricator Award created by Kale.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. He said he won't interrupt anymore, but it was important, so yeah. Got it. Okay, and Bob also said that will be awarded at the end of tomorrow's seminar, because we're doing the same thing. We'll get to hear from our young guests again. What I'd like to pose out to the group is, we heard each of you share about the particular vehicle that you guys have. I think the newest one that I heard was a model year 2001. Which to us, that's still classic. It's almost 25 years old, but still obviously a classic for this generation. I'm just curious, what is it about the older vehicles that you guys find interesting? Does anyone have anything that jumps out?
So mine is made of, it has like a chrome rim, and it's a lot nicer than the car that I was driving in the past, which I don't think I really know where it was from, but now it has like a whole chrome, it's basically all chrome, but just the front half is new, and yeah.
Who else? What is it about the chrome, the steel, the Detroit iron that is appealing?
I just think the classic cars are so easy to work on. With now all these modern day computers, they're just impossible to get underneath the hood and fix what you have to do. My father has a 2000 Corvette, and the steering wheel locked up because it was missing a sensor, and we were towing the car to the Chevrolet dealership rather than putting it in the garage and just fixing it by hand. So I think just everything that's coming to the conclusion is, with these computers, it's just impossible, and they're just so expensive.
Well, since you brought up the computer aspect, I'm in college for electrical engineering, so I kind of have a different view on the computer aspect of things. I personally love it, even though most people probably don't. So my 88 that's when they first came out with the electronic fuel injected on the vehicles. And so, of course, I got it, and it wasn't running exactly right. The HVAC system, air conditioning wasn't working exactly right. It's the same thing with the radio. And being in college for electrical engineering, I tore all the computers apart, replaced components, and rebuilt them, programmed them, put them back in the car, and now it's running great. But you brought up the aspect of what drew me to this vehicle, and it had to be the dash. It's got an electronic dashboard in it that's got like almost like an old school type of calculator looking. It's all electronic, and it's got little bars that light up as you go faster for the speedometer and stuff. But yeah, I love the electronics, especially during the 80s. So.
I'm going to be different out of the group and just go ahead and say, I like old cars, the bodies on them. I mean, the body lines on, 66 Impalas, I mean, they're one of a kind. They got that Coke body style, sorry. But most everything that I have, my 91 and my 64, they're both computer controlled LS motors. I mean, I like to put the new stuff in the old looking body. You get the reliability, you get the, go to an auto parts store and buy a generic part for it for a 2003 Tahoe, and then you go put it on your 91 Camaro to go make 8-second passes and pray that it doesn't explode. But I will get behind with you guys on the old carburetors. They are amazing to work on. They're just nice to be able to just turn a screw on something and adjust it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's that look for the body and the fact that a vehicle like that actually has a soul.
I'm gonna agree with him. I like the old bodies, and no hate on the new cars, but like the electric cars, you can't rev them at all. You can't rev them. So now you can rev any gas car and it would sound fine. It would sound good.
Preach it.
I don't know if I can say it any better. You can't rev an electric car, can you? Anyone else that cars that you went to? Yeah.
Kind of to backtrack on what they were saying, but I could be a little biased because my Hornet back in the day was like your average everyday car, grocery getter, family car. But I will definitely say even the most, everyday cars from back in the day had the most character. I never would look at my car that I have right now and think that's a boring car, even though it was an everyday car back in the day. But you look at any of the everyday cars for now, and they're all boxy SUVs, and they all kind of just look the same. They kind of like mesh together. So I know that there's definitely a lot of cool like supercars that today has to offer and stuff. But I mean, nothing gets better than those like old classics that are just everyday cars for them back in the day. Like I know my Hornet was like a throwaway car because they were just everyday cars. But I still think it's really like the body style on it and everything is just really cool and it has character, and I just think that's what today's cars lack. I think they need some, different body styles and different things to like make them unique and cool.
I agree. I really agree. Ida and I were talking, and like those cars made culture. They were like cultural icons, markers of generations. I mean, they had diversity, soul, sex appeal. Like they were amazing cars that carried a lot of legacy with them.
I'll say one more thing. I've driven so many cars, so many new cars and so many old cars, and I've worked on both. And let's just say I almost didn't bring my car to the show because the engine blew up like a week ago and we thrashed on it. If it was a new car, the new engine wouldn't have been in the car and the car wouldn't have been here. That's why I love old technology, and especially in drag racing, all you need is a carburetor and an MSD box, maybe a little bit of nitrous and some 10-inch slicks, and you'll be just fine. So I love the old technology.
I just like the stories of all the old vehicles. Like, if you walk around here and get to know anybody or like talk to them, you get to hear the story behind whatever car they brought. And most generally, it's something it's really odd or strange, or like it's just everybody's unique. And obviously with the newer cars, like they just don't have as good of a story to tell. So it's just kind of a neat way to be able to connect with people and get to know people just through that. So.
I'm gonna say another thing about like the styling of the time. Like my car, my rear window was once the biggest piece of glass ever produced for an automobile. And it's like the way the grille kind of slopes in off the fenders and the body line that goes off the rear bumper into the rear quarter panel. It's super cool looking, and like what Tony just said on like working on them and like driving them. For my driver's training I just recently did, I was driving a newer Ford Focus, and I drove a couple other older cars before that, and the older cars just easier to drive, they're just more fun to work on, they're easier to understand, just all in all just better.
And we'll open up the floor for some questions too, by the way, because I'm sure those in the crowd are anxious to chat with this group of gearheads. What I'm curious, folks, is I know you guys all got your passion from family and friends, and as you guys go out into your school, your classrooms, your sports leagues, whatnot, what do your friends think about, in some cases, your guys' obsession with these cool cars, classic cars? Does it resonate with them? Are they puzzled by them? Do they want to kind of participate in their own way?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and say a lot of my friends, I'm in a bunch of honors and AP classes. All my friends, they look at me, they think that I'm some redneck that just puts trucks together on the weekends, and they think that it's kind of stupid until their car breaks down the parking lot. I've currently fixed 8 different cars in a high school parking lot with nothing but the parts in my 4Runner and the tools. So thank you. But probably the only person that I'll say is my best friend. He pulled a 77 Corvette out of another friend of mine's field, and me and him, we worked on it, and he got it running. I've helped him adjust it from there, and we just kind of, bomb around in the old Biscayne. And I mean, so, shop guys, we all think it's really cool, but you get into like AP Calc class, yeah, no, they definitely do not think it's cool.
Well, there's always good and bad things about working on old cars, especially when your friends know that you're really good at it, is that you're usually the first one they call when they have problems. If we're broken down on the side of the road, or unfortunately, I helped my buddy build a boat, and I was out in the boat, he put me out on the trailer, I'm out in the boat, and here I go across the lake, and it wouldn't start. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm sure he's got a paddle in there. Well, the paddle was about that big. So I had to lean over the edge of a boat and paddle it back. But that's usually, it's a good way to make friends and spend time with each other, and it's usually, you build friendships along the way.
So I could say for a fact none of my friends are interested in classic cars, but my biggest support over here is my grandmother, because I'll get on the phone every single night and rant about hours of cars on Facebook Marketplace, and somehow she just nods her head and agrees with me. So get yourself a grandmother like her, because she'll listen to you for hours about anything.
Rock on!
Well, I've met a lot of people with this car stuff, and sometimes I ask myself why I even do this, because it costs a lot of money and causes stress, but it's fun. And a lot of my friends say that, and that's what all my friends say. Why do you spend so much money on your cars? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? But at the same time, I've met so many people in this great hobby just from going to car shows, going to the drag strip online. One of my best friends lives in Alaska. I met him on Facebook, and he's got a race car, and I talk to him almost every day. And it's just kind of a rarity to find people in this generation that like this hobby, because it's something not everyone was raised around, and quite literally an acquired taste. So I will say, I think it's gaining more traction than the last 10 years. I think it's coming back. It used to be a bigger thing, maybe in the 60s, 70s. Our grandparents grew up with the stuff. It was more mainstream. But I'm hoping that it comes back, and I just want to see all these classic cars live on, and even the newer performance cars, they're still cool. Anything internally combustion, anything gas powered is cool. So that's what I have to say about that.
I can also say for a fact that none of my friends care. They think it's kind of interesting, I guess, but they really don't get it. They're just like, that's just a way to transportation. Why do you really want to collect it, baby it, and kind of make it your own? But I also am in the same case where I'm the first one that everyone comes to when any sort of problem calls. I am the dad friend of the group, so any kind of problem, I've, jumped batteries, my roommates will come to me and be like, oh, I blew a fuse and I have to go to the electrical box and stuff like that. It's just kind of like the rep you get for it, especially being, in college with the whole tech degree too. I'm always in that building, so it's like a very manly building. So it's just kind of the rep you get, I guess. But yeah, they don't really get it, but then I'm the first person that they come running to, so.
So when I do presentations in my class, usually it's just about racing stuff. So I wanted to take my car to school one day just for a presentation, and we have taken cars to school before when I was in kindergarten. So it's like we wanted to take it again for another thing, and they wanted to see it. But then again, they don't really know what I'm talking about when I start telling them about like what happened at the racetrack. So nobody really knows what I'm talking about, but they're kind of interested, but not that interested. But yeah, there's still like there's other friends from the racetrack that I've like met, and then I talk to a lot of people from the racetrack almost every day. It's just a lot of fun to talk to.
So I will say, like, all summer long, I've went to probably hundreds of car meets and car shows with people that are just like me. I constantly surround myself with people who are like me and they love the hobby and they want to stick with it and they don't want to see all the electric cars. They want to keep it all gas. Like one of my closest friends, he just recently became a assistant shop teacher at my high school auto shop. So I get to hang out with him every day and just work on cars with him. And I'm constantly looking forward to that class. I get to go to the after-school auto club program, which I've been in since 7th grade, and it's for high schoolers only. And it's just a super great thing. It's brought me to meet so many great people like Gary over here and Tony down there.